Hi guys, welcome back to Ramya's World. Today we're going to be talking about the current gun laws in US. But I'm so glad we did not wake up to any mass shootings this week. But I did hear on the news this morning that they had arrested a man who had threatened to go to his workplace and shoot as many people as he can. And the police was tipped off and they raided his apartment and they found high capacity guns and a lot of ammunition. But I'm so glad that they were able to foil his plan. Also earlier this week I read an article where 3 men were arrested on tips that they had the intention of carrying out mass shooting. One was a 22-year-old man from Connecticut, and he expressed interest on doing a mass shooting when he posted something on Facebook. And now he's arrested on charges of illegal possession of high-capacity guns and magazines. Another man was a 24-year-old man who was arrested in Daytona Beach, Florida, when he sent a very disturbing text to his ex-girlfriend, and she tipped off the police. Some of the text that he sent was, 100 kills would be nice, a school is a weak target. I would like to open fire on a bigger crowd from 3 miles away and create the world record for the longest fired number of people. And then he said that I want to die but I want to have fun doing it. The police raided his apartment and they found hunting rifles and about 400 rounds of ammo. Third person was a 20-year-old man who threatened to open fire at a Youngstown Jewish community center, and the police was tipped off and they found a lot of ammunition and weapons at his residence. So I'm just so glad that people are being more alert and they are tipping off officers, so we can prevent these kind of mass shootings from happening. But we surely need more stricter gun laws so that these do not happen how frequently they are happening right now. So all this started me thinking about what are the current gun laws that are currently in place in US. Because I recently saw President Trump saying that we need stricter gun laws, and a few days later I saw another video of him that we already have stricter gun laws in place. We just need to make sure that it does not fall in the hands of wrong people. So I just went and wikied what are the current US gun laws. So all the information that I received or I going to say on this video is from Wikipedia and a couple articles that I read through while I was researching on this topic. So 44 states in US have a provision in their state constitution which is very similar to the Second Amendment to the US Constitution, which protects the rights of the citizen to keep and bear arms. The only exceptions are California, Iowa, Maryland, Minnesota, New Jersey, and New York. But in New York they have statutory civil law which has a provision very similar to the Second Amendment. So you see people saying that it's my Second Amendment right to bear and have a firearm. So I looked it up and this is what I found. So in 1791 the US Bill of Rights were ratified, which included the Second Amendment to the US Constitution, which stated that a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. So in 1934, the National Firearms Act was signed into law under President Roosevelt, and it's considered to be the first US legislation to enforce US gun control laws. And it imposed a $200 tax on the manufacture and transfer of Title II weapons, which is like the machine gun, the short barrel shotgun, the short barrel rifle, silencer, and this is equivalent to about $4,000 in 2019. And 4 years later, in 1938, President Roosevelt signed the Federal Firearms Act, the FFA, into law, requiring that all gun-related business must have a federal firearms license, the FFA. And in 1968, following a spree of assassinations like that of Robert Kennedy, John F. Kennedy, Martin Luther King, the then President Lyndon Johnson pushed the Congress to pass the Gun Control Act of 1968. The GCA, the Gun Control Act, repealed and replaced the Federal Firearms Act, and it also expanded the definition of machine gun. And it also required the serialization of manufactured or imported guns, It put a ban on importing military-style weapons. It imposed a 21-year-old minimum age for anybody wanting to purchase a handgun from FFLs. And there was also a prohibition of selling firearms to a felon or anyone with a mental illness. Finally, in 1993, the Brady Handgun Violence Prevention Act was signed into law under President Bill Clinton, which required that all gun purchases should have a background check done. And so it's established a criminal background check system which would be maintained by the FBI. A year later, in 1994, the Violent Crime Control and Law Enforcement Act was signed into law under President Bill Clinton, which included the federal assault weapon ban. So it basically banned the manufacture or the importing or possession of any military-style weapons, like the AR-15, and also a ban on the possession of ammo which had more than 10 rounds. But anybody who had legally possessed any of those banned weapons, they were grandfathered. But however, this ban expired in September of 2004. That's a brief history of all the gun laws that have been put in place over the years in US. But where are we at right now? So as per a small arms survey of 2011, for every 100 people, there are about 88 guns in place. And as per the Brady Gun Violence Prevention Campaign, about 115,000 people, are shot each year due to gun violence. It's murder, assault, police intervention, suicide attempts. Currently, the GCA, the Gun Control Act of 1968, which regulates the firearms at the federal level, requires that a person should be 18 years or older to own a shotgun, a rifle, or ammunition. But you can own any other firearms, only like handguns, only if you're 21 years or older. And fugitives, people who are involuntarily committed to a mental institution or who are deemed, scare to the society, or people who have been having a criminal record for being in prison for over 1 year, or they have a felony conviction of 2 years or more, they are not allowed to purchase a firearm. So people who unlawfully possess or have used controlled substances in the past 1 year, including marijuana, which is though legal in some states, it's still considered illegal at the federal level. There are also restrictions on people who have been issued a restraining order by the court, for threatening to kill or, stalking. And people who have revoked their citizenship, or people who are unauthorized immigrants, and people who have been discharged dishonorably from military, or like tourists, people who are here on tourist visa, they cannot own a gun in US. Though the state and the local government regulate if the residents can, for example, carry the guns in public, the laws regarding who can possess or receive a gun is still set out at the federal level. Currently, the purchase of semi-automatic weapons is legal in most states, as are the automatic weapons made before 1986. So currently, the FFLs, the Federal Firearm License, people who sell guns are required to conduct a background check under the Brady Handgun Violence Prevention Act. So a person wanting to purchase a firearm fills out a form, a federal form called the ATF 4473, and this form checks for any prior convictions or any other red flags. So the FFL holder uses that information on the form to do the background check. The states may decide if they want to do the background check, based solely on the FBI's National Instant Criminal Background Check System called NICS, or a combination of NICS and the state's information system. Roughly about 30 states rely solely on the NICS for the background check. So this process takes less than 10 minutes over the phone or online, and it gives the FFL holder with a response of either to approve or deny or delay the person's form for purchasing a firearm. And when the background check comes with the response of delay, it means that further research of 3 business days is required. But after that 3 days has expired, it is up, it is up to the discretion of the FFL holder if they find the research to be inconclusive, and it's up to them if they want to sell the firearms to the person who wants to buy it. But the Brady law does not apply to someone who's obtaining the firearm from a person who's not FFL, a federal firearm licensed person. So in that case, you don't require the background check to be done. Only a dozen of US 50 states require purchase permits for handguns, and of that, only 3 states, California, Connecticut, and Hawaii, require permits for shotguns and rifles. California requires applicants to write a written test and also enroll in a gun safety class to obtain the purchase. Most of the states require permits to carry handgun, but some states do not require permits, and the concealed carry or open carry varies from state to state. Like in Texas in 2016, they passed a law where you could carry a concealed weapon on university campus. In contrast, virtually no states require permit to carry shotgun and rifles. Massachusetts and New Jersey do require people to show identification or a firearm identification if they're carrying a rifle or shot. So I came across this thing called the gunshow loophole. So not every buyer is legally subject to a background check. So this loophole potentially enables firearms to be owned by people who otherwise might not be allowed to own a fire. So according to the ATF, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms and Explosive, anyone can sell a firearm without a federal firearm license from their home, online, or at a flea market or at gun shows, as long as that that sale is not part of their regular business activity. Like someone selling firearms from their personal collection, or some people who are giving guns as gift, like many grandfathers give to their grandkids as gift. They are exempt from receiving FFL, the federal firearm license. But only if their principal motive is to make a profit from the sale, then you need to get a FFL, the federal firearm license. This is commonly referred to as the gunshow loophole, and this ambiguity also explains as to why a sale can occur without a background check and legally, because you don't have to do a background check if it falls under any of the above categories. So 2017 survey by Harvard and Northeastern universities saw that at least 1 in 5 transactions happened without a background check. A gun may also be purchased on behalf of a third party, only when it is a gift, and as long as the recipient does not violate the federal restriction on gun ownership, to the gift giver's best knowledge. And the same applies for the general transfer of guns. Children who are below 18 years of age can possess guns, given to them as gifts by their parents, grandparents, or guardians, as long as they have a written permission to, have those guns. So I'm going to end my video for today at that, but I'm going to have a link to the article from which I got this information below, and also to the Wikipedia link for all the US gun laws that we have in place currently. But I really hope there will be more stringent gun laws, especially with high capacity ammunitions and universal background check to cover this loophole we currently have. And no need of assault rifles for civilians. I mean, why do we need assault rifle gun? I mean, handgun for your own personal protection maybe, but I don't think civilians need assault rifles. And here's a song to get your weekend started. It's called Beautiful People. It's a collab between Ed Sheeran and Khalid. Enjoy. Just ourselves, I could use some help getting out of this conversation. Yeah, you look stunning, dear, so don't ask that question here. This is my only fear, that we become beautiful people. Top designer clothes, front row fashion shows. What you do and who'd you know? Inside the world, beautiful people, champagne and rose. So that's it for today, guys. I'll see you guys back next week. But until then, live in the moment, enjoy every moment, kyunki kal ho na ho. And please don't forget, follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And please do share my YouTube channel with family and friends. And I'll see you guys back next week. Bye, love you all.